Did Arch Manning just make the most shocking decision in college football history? While every mock draft has him going number 1 overall in 2026, sources close to the Manning family are suggesting something nobody saw coming. Arch might be staying at Texas until 2027. That's right, the most overhyped quarterback prospect since his uncles Peyton and Eli could be walking away from tens of millions of dollars to spend at an extra year in college. But of course, they wouldn't really be missing out much because of NIL deals. And if Arch were to actually step into the NFL draft in 2026, would he even be considered going number 1? Well, if you didn't know, Arch Manning is a 21-year-old quarterback playing at the University of Texas. He is the nephew of popular and very notable quarterbacks such as Eli Manning and Peyton Manning's nephew. He is the son of their brother that unfortunately wasn't able to fulfill his NFL career. Arch Manning was a highly decorated high school football player from the Isidore Newman School, the same school that his father and uncles played at over there in New Orleans, Louisiana, where he was the 4-year starter quarterback. He's a 4-time All-State selection. He's also recognized as an All-American player. Manning broke the school's passing yards and passing touchdowns record, previously held by his uncles Eli and Peyton, like I said earlier. This included Eli's career passing yards record of 7,268 and Peyton's career touchdown record of 93. So he beat both his uncles. And of course, we know who Peyton and Eli are and what they did in the NFL, both being Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP winners, holding over 30 altogether Pro Bowls, and both being named first team All-Pro multiple times. And their nephew actually played better than they were back in high school. His accolades don't stop there, as he was the National Freshman of the Year. He earned Max Prep's National Freshman of the Year honors back in 2019. He was also a participant in the U.S. Army Bowl. And with all this accolades and also his name, you could say he ended up being a backup quarterback to Quinn Ewers over there in Texas. But back in his high school days, he had absolutely monster numbers, having 115 touchdowns in his high school career, compared to his 19 career interceptions. That's almost an 100 percentile difference. Boasting 1,000 yards more than his uncle Eli did, having 8,539 passing yards, and having a completion ratage of 64.5%. A key notable difference in Arch Manning's game is that he also does have a running game, something that Eli Manning and Peyton Manning kind of struggled with throughout their careers. They were known more as pocket passers, but Arch Manning boasts a 748 rushing yards in his high school career and also had 19 rushing touchdowns. And as you can see here, he does have some legs on him. He do be going fast, and he definitely did not get these genes from his uncles. See, he got these genes from his father playing high school football over there at the Newman High School, the same high school that he attended. However, Cooper Manning, Arch Manning's dad's career, was cut short, unfortunately, due to a medical diagnosis of spinal stenosis. Sorry for butchering all those words, but medical terminology is not my specialty. But he was a star wide receiver with a long future ahead of him that unfortunately he was not able to uphold. But thankfully, he passed over his unknown Manning genes of running ability that Eli and Peyton Manning lacked over to his son. And I'm under the assumption that his son soaked up all that quarterback skills from his uncles, as he's known for being a bit of a gunslinger and also being good on his toes. This leads us to where we're at now, where he had some flashes as Quinn Ewers did fall to injury. He started in 2 games, and in those 2 games, he won both of them, having 63 completions on 95 attempts, which is a higher completion rating that he did have in high school. He had 9 touchdowns compared to his 2 interceptions with an 179 QBR. He had 119 in rushing yards with 4 rushing touchdowns, so showing an ability to translate his running game over to the collegiate level. Some were confused after these performances how Quinn Ewers kept his starting spot, because Arch Manning did go out there and did ball out. I mean, if we're being honest, Arch Manning's first official start was against Louisiana Monroe, so he was near home. He went ahead and completed 15 passes on 29 attempts, so he did have a bit of a shaky game, but he did almost get 260 passing yards at 258 with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, so a bit of a shaky start. He threw an interception on his first drive, but he quickly bounced back, leading 4 consecutive touchdown drives. He also flashed arm strength potential with deep passes of 56 and 46 yards respectively. Despite early setback in his interception, he displayed composure and command of the offense, which was something that Quinn Ewers was kind of lacking at the time. Now, Texas didn't have a horrible season, but they didn't have the season that they were expected to have, losing to the Ohio Buckeyes that would go ahead and win Natty. They absolutely demolished Louisiana Monroe, beating the Warhawks 51-3. So it wasn't really that close. And with that Texas roster, there was no reason why Arch Manning would have lost that game anyways. They would later win their first SEC conference under Manning's start in his next game against Mississippi State, where they won again 35-13 against Mississippi State. He had a much more efficient game, throwing 26 completions on 31 attempts, giving him an 83.9 completion rating. He had 324 passing yards on 2 touchdowns. He had 33 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown, showing his ability to still run the ball on a collegiate level, even against more competent opponents. This game was much more notably efficient than his debut, which is to be expected. He threw 0 interceptions, unlike his first game throwing an interception in the first drive. He connected on a 49-yard touchdown pass and a 27-yard touchdown pass to DeAndre Moore. He also had a crucial rushing touchdown late in the third quarter to extend Texas' lead. Manning's second start was a solid performance that helped Texas navigate a tougher opponent and secure their first SEC victory. And again, with the composure, head coach Steve Sarkisian praised Manning's composure and ability to lead the team through adversity, noting that the team can count on him. And all these accolades and all these great performances that Arch Manning has had, even when he is against the grain against Mississippi State, which was a much more competent opponent than Louisiana Monroe, he was able to keep his composure. And that's really what quarterback rooms are looking for in the NFL. They're looking for someone that has the talent, has the name, and can keep his composure, and a team can actually rely on him. Because when you have a quarterback with the talent and the composure and that sort of calmness, you can kind of just rely on him to make the good play. And that's kind of what Arch Manning has shaped out to be in Texas, even though he's only played in 2 games. You could say that this is overrating him, but personally, I think we're going to see a lot of great flashes from Arch Manning next season. But this leads us to what we were talking about in the beginning, whether he was going to declare for the draft after a year of playing or play another year in Texas. His grandfather stated that he was going to stay in Texas until 2027 instead of entering the draft post 2026. Assuming that he finishes his entire collegiate career with Texas and then go into the NFL. This has mixed emotions between the fans and the NFL teams, because there are some teams that may actually be waiting on Arch Manning to play in the NFL and they're tanking for him. Now, I don't know how probable that is, but at the same time, he has shown some great flashes, and having a Manning be back on the draft board must be pretty nostalgic for these NFL teams. And at the same time, we can only see this type of generational talent once in a lifetime. But that is, of course, if he lives up to what people's standards are of him, which we have no clue he will. But one can hope. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that Arch Manning should just enter the draft after a year playing at Texas, or if he should just finish his collegiate career and enter the draft when he's much more competent at like 24, 25 years old? But does he really need it? I personally don't know. We're going to see next season how he plays, and let's see if he does need some more years in collegiate level. But I know that this isn't really affecting him much, especially monetarily wise, because Arch Manning does have one of the biggest names in the entire college football space, which probably makes him a buttload of money. and he has two rich uncles to fall back on, so I don't think anybody should be worried about him losing millions of dollars. I think we should be worried about him losing much more draft prospect, because I think his anonymity and his flashes of greatness kind of keep him in this limelight to where we don't really know if he's great. He looks like he's gonna be great, but he also looks like, it could just be another one of those overrated quarterbacks coming out of the QB rooms. But let me know what you guys think, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.